Picture this. It's 2:00 a.m.
Okay.
The house is completely quiet. Everything is dark, except I hear this one very distinct sound. It's just scrish, scrap,
Oh,
scripts.
yeah, the litter box digging.
Exactly, echoing all the way from the laundry room. So I stumble out of bed, I'm half asleep, I peek around the corner, and there is my ginger tabby, Oliver. And he is in his litter box just digging a hole to China.
Right.
And then he stops. And he squats down, and he strains, and he lets out this incredibly sad, mournful little cry.
Oh, no.
And my brain is totally foggy, right? I'm exhausted. So my immediate thought in that situation is, oh, buddy, you've got an upset tummy. I just figure he's mildly constipated, or maybe he ate a bug or something.
Yeah, of course.
So I make a mental note to give him a little spoonful of plain pumpkin puree with his breakfast, and I literally turn around, fully intending to go right back to sleep.
I have to stop you right there.
Okay.
That moment, that very normal, completely understandable human rationalization, that is actually where things can take a really tragic turn.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Because if you walk away and you just go back to sleep, assuming Oliver has a mild tummy ache, you might actually wake up to a cat in a coma. Or even worse.
Wait, a coma from a tummy ache? I mean,
It's not a tummy ache, that's the trap. If Oliver isn't struggling to pass feces, but is actually struggling to urinate, you are looking at a life-threatening, rapidly progressing medical crisis.
oh my gosh.
It is essentially a biological ticking clock.
Yeah.
The toxins are already building up in his blood right then. If he can't pass urine, his heart could literally stop beating before tomorrow night.
Okay, my heart is racing just hearing that. I had no idea the stakes were that high over just a trip to the litter box.
It's terrifying, but it's so common.
Wow. Well, welcome to this deep dive for Kitty Meow. Today we are looking at a stack of veterinary articles and behavioral guides. We've got stuff from Cat Garden, Lady NUS, Anacuris España, and cats.com.
All excellent resources.
Yeah, and we are going to decode exactly what our cats are trying to tell us when they're in distress in the bathroom. Because our mission today is really driven by a simple philosophy, which is that understanding your cat is another way of loving your cat.
I love that.
Ah.
And part of that love is really learning how to distinguish between, a minor issue that you can safely monitor at home and a 24-hour red alert emergency that requires you to immediately get to the ER. We really have to learn to read their subtle language.
Absolutely. Now, before we really get into the weeds of this, I do want to give a quick educational disclaimer. We are diving deep into veterinary research today to empower you with knowledge, but this deep dive is strictly educational. It is never a substitute for a real vet diagnosis.
Right, exactly. A phone call to your vet clinic is always your best first step. Never hesitate to call them.
Yes, call the vet. But if you treat your cat like a family member and you want to learn how to protect them and understand their secret language, hit that subscribe button right now to join the Kitty Meow family. We would love to have you.
Yes, join us.
So let's pull back the curtain on that 2 a.m. scenario. I'm standing there in the doorway watching Oliver strain. The problem is, if nothing is actually coming out of him, I have zero visual evidence of what he's actually trying to do.
Right, it's just a cat in a box.
Honestly, yeah. To me, a cat squatting looks like a cat squatting. How on earth am I supposed to know if he's trying to pee or if he's trying to poop?
It's a brilliant question because it really highlights how much we rely on the end result rather than the process itself.
Yeah.
When a cat is producing waste normally, you hear it or you see it clump up. But when they're blocked or constipated, you lose your most obvious clue.
Exactly. The evidence is gone.
Right. But their biomechanics actually tell the whole story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Defecating and urinating require entirely different muscle engagements for them, and that changes their body posture significantly. The veterinary guides we looked at, specifically the detailed breakdown from cats.com, they highlight this subtle but really crucial difference.
Okay.
Let's look at the peeing posture first.
My assumption is that they just sit down. Like, what am I actually looking for there?
Well, when a cat is urinating, they squat very, very low. Their bum is almost touching the litter. Their back legs are positioned flat to the floor. And here's the absolute key identifier.
Okay, what is it?
Their spine is relatively straight and relaxed.
Oh, straight spine.
Yeah, and the tail is usually just slightly raised, like parallel to the ground or just a bit higher so it doesn't get wet. If you look at them from the side, it almost mimics a dog's sitting position. It's this very low, discreet, flattened posture.
Okay, so flat back, low to the ground, almost like he's trying to make himself as small as possible in the box.
Yes.
What about the poop squat then? How is that mechanically different?
Think about the abdominal pressure required to move solid waste versus liquid waste. When they're trying to defecate, their back is distinctly arched and rounded upward. They have to engage their abdominal muscles to really bear down. And to facilitate this, their back legs are lifted higher off the ground, often with their weight shifted slightly forward onto their toes rather than being flat-footed.
Oh, like they're hovering a little bit more.
Exactly. And the tail might be raised significantly higher, pointing straight up or angled sharply, just to keep it out of the way of the dropping feces.
So the spine is the dead giveaway here. Peeing is a flat, straight back. Pooping is a rounded, arched back, almost like a Halloween cat silhouette.
Precisely. The Halloween cat is a great way to remember it. And observing that arch is just critical. If you're watching Oliver and his back is extremely arched, and maybe you even see his abdominal muscles kind of spasming or contracting rhythmically, that indicates severe, painful straining to move feces.
I see a massive practical flaw in this observation strategy, though.
Oh, the lid.
Yes. My litter box, and probably the litter boxes half the people listening right now, has a giant plastic lid on it. It's one of those enclosed dome boxes. And I bought it because I wanted to hide the mess and keep the dog from eating the well, you know.
The forbidden snacks. Yeah.
Exactly. With that lid on, I can't see his posture at all. I only see his little head poking out of the flap door.
The sources actually call out covered litter boxes as a major hindrance to feline health monitoring for this exact reason. When you use a covered box, you completely blindfold yourself to these vital visual clues.
Wow.
You lose your first line of defense in identifying a medical emergency because, like you said, you can only see their face. Plus, those covers trap intense odors and create this sensory nightmare for the cat, which we will definitely explore in depth later.
Taking the lid off just feels like such a simple but profound change just for the sake of observation. Honestly, if you just learned the difference between the pee squat and the poop squat, take a second to give this video a like so we know this information is clicking for you.
It's a game changer.
It really is. So let's say I take the lid off. I watch Oliver closely. His back is super arched. His weight is on his toes. He is clearly trying to poop. If nothing is coming out, that's just standard constipation, right? I mean, as a human, if I'm constipated, I drink a glass of water, I eat an apple, and I just wait it out. I assume I can handle this at home with Oliver, too.
And that human comparison is exactly where we get into trouble. Constipation in a cat is not just a temporary inconvenience like it is for us. It is often the symptom of a cascading physiological failure.
A failure from constipation.
Yes. The veterinary sources from Anakira and Cat Garden explicitly warn owners against the whole wait-and-see approach.
But why does a cat eating a highly regulated diet of, Prixium kibble and canned food even get constipated in the first place?
To understand that, we have to look at their evolutionary biology.
Okay.
Cats evolved as desert-dwelling predators. Their bodies are designed to extract moisture from their prey: mice, birds, insects. Because of this evolutionary history, they have a notoriously low thirst drive. They simply don't have the instinct to drink a lot of standing water from a bowl.
Oh, because they're supposed to eat their water.
Exactly. Now put that desert animal in a modern home, eating dry kibble, which has maybe 10% moisture compared to the 70% moisture of a fresh mouse. They exist in a state of chronic, low-grade dehydration.
So they're just walking around dehydrated every day.
Many of them are, yes,
Yeah.
especially older cats. And as cats age, their kidneys often begin to lose their filtering efficiency. Chronic kidney disease is incredibly common in senior felines. When the body realizes it's losing too much water through these inefficient kidneys, it hits the panic button.
It needs water.
Right. It looks for any available moisture to stay alive. And the easiest place for the body to steal water from is the colon.
Oh, wow. So the body's basically wringing out the feces like a sponge to survive.
That is a perfect visualization. The colon reabsorbs the liquid, turning the waste into tiny, dry, cement-like pebbles that are excruciatingly difficult to pass.
That sounds awful.
It is. But dehydration is just one pathway. You also have hairball blockages.
Right.
Cats are fastidious groomers, and their tongues have those backward-facing barbs made of keratin. When they swallow fur, it doesn't digest. If it doesn't pass through smoothly, it mats together in the digestive tract, literally clogging the pipe.
I always thought hairballs were just something they threw up on the rug. I didn't realize they could travel down and cause a roadblock in the colon.
They absolutely can, and it creates a serious impaction. And there's another hidden cause that surprises a lot of owners, which is physical pain.
Pain where?
Think about osteoarthritis in the hips or the lower spine.
Oh, because assuming that arched back, raised leg squatting position would be agonizing on inflamed joints.
Exactly. The mechanical act of pooping literally hurts them. So what does a cat do? They avoid the litter box. They actively suppress the urge to go. They hold it in. And the longer waste sits in the colon, the more water is extracted from it by the body, creating this vicious cycle of severe constipation.
That is heartbreaking. They're holding it because it hurts to bend their knees.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say Oliver is doing this. I see the arched back, he's crying, he leaves maybe one tiny dry crumble in the box. What is the actual physical danger if I decide to wait until after the weekend to call the vet?
If you wait, you are risking a terrifying, irreversible condition called megacolon.
Megacolon.
Yes. Both Anakira and Cats.com highlight this as the catastrophic end stage of ignored constipation.
What happens?
Well, the colon is a muscular tube. It relies on smooth muscle contractions, called peristalsis, to move waste along. When feces back up, the colon has to stretch to accommodate the blockage.
Like stuffing too many clothes into a duffel bag. It just bulges out.
Yes, but biological tissue has a breaking point. The smooth muscle fibers of the colon work by sliding past each other to contract. If you stretch that tissue beyond its physiological limit for too long, those fibers are essentially pulled apart. They lose their overlapping structure. The muscle permanently loses its elasticity and its ability to contract.
Oh, no.
That is megacolon.
Wait, permanently? So even if you manage to get the hard stool out a week later, the muscle itself is just broken?
It is irreparably damaged. The colon becomes a flaccid, lifeless sac that can no longer push waste out on its own. From that point on, the cat will suffer from chronic, lifelong impactions. They will require constant medical management, and frequently it necessitates a major salvage surgery called a subtotal colectomy.
A subtotal colectomy? What is that?
It's where the veterinary surgeon literally cuts out the dead, stretched section of the colon and sews the remaining ends together.
That is horrifying. I am never ignoring an arched back again. So what is the actionable timeline for me as an owner?
The overarching rule across the veterinary sources is the 1 to 2 day rule. If it has been 24 to 48 hours with no successful normal bowel movement, you need professional intervention.
Got it. 48 hours max.
At the clinic, they have tools you do not have. They might prescribe a specialized osmotic laxative like Lactulose.
How does that work compared to human laxatives? Like, could I just give him Miralax?
Never give human medication without a vet's direction. Human stimulant laxatives force the bowel to spasm, which is dangerous for a blocked cat. Lactulose is an unabsorbable sugar. When it reaches the colon, it actually draws water from the body back into the bowel through osmosis, softening that cement-like stool safely.
Oh, so it reverses the dehydration process in the colon.
Exactly. If it's more severe, they will perform an enema. But crucially, veterinary enemas almost always need to be done under sedation.
Why sedation?
Pumping fluid into an already painfully distended colon of a terrified cat is a recipe for a ruptured bowel if they thrash around. In the absolute worst cases, the vet has to use their fingers to manually extract the impacted feces while the cat is fully under anesthesia.
That sounds traumatic for the cat and honestly incredibly expensive for the owner.
It is both.
How do we prevent this from ever happening?
Prevention focuses on moisture and motility. First, shift their diet. Move away from just dry kibble and incorporate high-moisture wet food.
Okay, more wet food.
Second, trick them into drinking by providing moving water like a feline water fountain, and place it away from their food bowl because cats instinctively avoid water near their kill to prevent contamination.
Oh, I had no idea about that. I always keep his water right next to his food. I'll move that tonight. I can also add fiber, right? I mentioned pumpkin puree earlier.
Yes, plain pumpkin puree, absolutely not the sugary pie filling, or a sprinkle of psyllium husk can work wonders. The soluble fiber absorbs water and creates a gel-like bulk that stimulates the colon to contract normally.
And what about the hairball aspect?
For hairballs, brushing your cat daily removes the dead fur before they can even swallow it. The Cat Garden source specifically recommends incorporating supplements like their Pro Hairball Control Powder. These products often contain slippery elm or specific probiotics that lubricate the digestive tract and promote healthy motility, so it sweeps that ingested fur out before it can accumulate into a blockage.
Okay, I have a firm grasp on constipation now. Arched back, straining, dry pebbles. It's bad, but usually a slower moving issue. Let's pivot to the scenario that terrifies me.
Let's do it.
I check the box. Oliver's back is totally flat. He's doing the low dog sit. I look in the litter and there is absolutely no pee. Not a clump, not a drop, or maybe just a single speck with a pinkish tint.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that messes with my head. What if I look over and he walks out of the laundry room, goes to the kitchen, eats a mouthful of kibble, and starts batting his favorite toy mouse around the living room?
You have just described the single most dangerous trap in feline medicine, the acting normal illusion.
Because my immediate thought is, look at him, he's playing, he's eating, he can't be that sick. It's Saturday night. I am not paying a $300 emergency vet exam fee for a cat chasing a toy. I will just call our regular vet on Monday morning.
And that very logical human assumption is exactly why so many male cats die from urinary blockages. According to the Lady in U.S. veterinary article, relying on your cat's outward demeanor is a fatal mistake. You have to remember the duality of cats.
What do you mean?
Yes, they are apex predators, hunting mice and birds. But they're also prey to larger animals like coyotes, eagles, larger cats. Evolution has hardwired them to hide any sign of weakness or pain. If a wild cat shows that it is vulnerable, it gets eaten.
So his brain is screaming at him to pretend everything is fine, even if his body is... How fast does this crisis escalate? If I wait from Saturday night to Monday morning, that's like 36 hours.
You likely won't make it to Monday morning.
Really?
The Lady N U.S. source provides the baseline 2 to 4 rule. A healthy adult cat should urinate 2 to 4 times every 24 hours. If 12 to 24 hours pass with zero urine output, you are already in the red zone. The kidneys are still producing urine, but it has nowhere to go. The bladder fills up, the pressure builds, and the urine literally backs up through the ureters and into the kidneys themselves, crushing the delicate filtering mechanisms.
Okay, wait. I'm trying to map this to my own body. If I am on a road trip and I hold my pee for way too long, it is incredibly uncomfortable, my lower stomach aches, but I'm not dying. Why is 24 hours a death sentence for a cat?
Because a feline urinary blockage is not a localized bladder issue. It is a rapid systemic poisoning of the entire body. The kidney's primary job is to filter toxic byproducts out of the blood. When the plumbing is blocked, those toxins accumulate in the bloodstream at an alarming rate. The most lethal of these toxins is potassium.
Potassium, like the stuff in bananas that prevents muscle cramps.
The very same. In normal, regulated amounts, potassium is essential. It operates the sodium-potassium pumps in the cell membranes, which generate the electrical impulses that tell the heart muscle to contract and relax.
Okay.
But when the kidneys can't flush the excess potassium out in the urine, the levels in the blood spike dramatically, a condition called hyperkalemia.
What does massive amounts of potassium do to the heart?
It destroys the electrical resting potential of the heart cells. The heart literally forgets how to beat correctly. High potassium acts as a biological heart stopper. It slows the heart rate down to a crawl, causes severe chaotic arrhythmias, and within 24 to 48 hours, it will cause total cardiac arrest.
So a urinary blockage isn't just a clogged pipe. It's like a complete mechanical failure of the body's plumbing. And the toxic exhaust is backing up directly into the engine, flooding it until it shuts down completely.
That is the absolute most accurate way to visualize it. The engine is flooding with toxins. Now, as to what causes that physical clog in the pipe, it usually boils down to a few culprits.
What are they?
It could be mucus plugs, which are sticky, protein-rich debris formed when the bladder lining is inflamed. It could be microscopic mineral crystals, usually struvite or calcium oxalate, that clump together and act like wet sand wedged in a pipe. Or it could be a combination, like a plug of mucus rolled in sharp mineral sand.
Oh, that sounds so painful. I've always heard that male cats are way more at risk for this. Is that true, or is that just a myth?
It is profound anatomical truth. The Anacura article on urinary obstruction emphasizes this heavily. The male cat's urethra, which is the tube leading from the bladder out through the penis, is incredibly narrow, and it has a sharp curve in it.
A curve.
Think of a tiny bent cocktail straw. It takes almost nothing, a single drop of mucus or a small cluster of microscopic crystals, to hit that curve and wedge completely tight, stopping 100% of the flow. Female cats have a much wider, shorter, and straighter urethra. While females absolutely get painful urinary tract infections, total life-threatening blockages are very rare.
That is terrifying. Delaying care because a cat is acting normal is the #1 cause of death in these cases. Please, if you are listening to this, share this video with anyone you know who has a male cat. Send it to your group chat, text it to your parents. It could literally save their cat's life tonight. Because honestly, I am panicking a little just thinking about Oliver in this situation. My instinct at the ER would be to ask the vet to just press on his bladder and squeeze the blockage out, like unclogging a ketchup bottle.
That is actually the absolute worst thing a vet or an owner could possibly do.
Really?
Yes. The Lady NUS and Anacura guides outline a very specific, strict 3-step logistics plan for owners when this happens, precisely to prevent those panicked, instinctual mistakes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I would have made it worse. What about home remedies? I feel like the internet is full of people saying to syringe feed them apple cider vinegar or cranberry juice when they can't pee.
You must ignore all of that. A blockage is a dense, physical, mechanical plug made of proteins and minerals. No amount of water, cranberry extract, or acidic vinegar is going to magically dissolve a solid plug in a matter of hours. Delaying your trip to the emergency room to try and play doctor with pantry items is fatal.
I hear you. No home remedies, no squeezing. What is the actual three-step plan?
Step 1 is about triage. Call the ER ahead of time. Don't just put the cat in the car and show up unannounced.
Okay, call ahead.
Call them and say these exact words. I have a potentially blocked male cat. In veterinary medicine, that phrase is a code red. It tells the front desk to bump you to the top of the triage list. It allows the emergency team to prepare an unblocking kit, draw up emergency cardiac medications, and prep an oxygen cage so they are ready the second you walk through the door.
Clear communication buys them time. I love that. What's step 2?
Step 2. Fast your cat immediately. The moment you suspect a blockage, pick up the food bowl and the water bowl.
See, my instinct would be the exact opposite. I would want to force him to drink water to flush the system out.
It seems counterintuitive, but think about the medical reality of what is about to happen at the clinic. To unblock the cat, the veterinary team is going to have to place them under heavy sedation or general anesthesia.
Right.
When an animal is sedated, they lose their swallow reflex. If Oliver has a stomach full of kibble and water, the risk of him vomiting and aspirating, meaning inhaling that acidic vomit directly into his lungs, skyrockets. Aspiration pneumonia on top of a urinary blockage is a nightmare scenario.
Right.
An empty stomach makes the life-saving anesthesia dramatically safer.
That makes total sense when you explain the mechanics of anesthesia. Okay, step 1, call ahead. Step 2, fast the cat. What is step 3?
Step 3, handle with extreme delicate care. You need to get Oliver into his carrier, but you must be incredibly gentle, specifically avoiding any pressure on his belly.
This goes back to my terrible idea of squeezing the bladder like a ketchup bottle. Why is that so dangerous?
Because the bladder is not just full. It is distended to its absolute physiological limit. The tissue of the bladder wall stretches until it is paper thin, like a water balloon that is one drop away from bursting. It is excruciatingly painful. But more importantly, if you squeeze their belly, trying to pick them up, or trying to feel if there is a hard lump in there, your hands can apply enough localized pressure to literally pop the bladder inside their abdominal cavity.
Oh my God.
If the bladder ruptures, all that toxic bacteria-filled urine spills directly into the sterile abdominal cavity, a condition called uroabdomen. The potassium absorbs instantly into the bloodstream, and the survival rate plummets drastically. When you pick him up, scoop him by supporting his chest and his hind legs. Keep your hands completely away from the soft underbelly.
I am terrified, but I feel prepared. What actually happens once I hand Oliver over to the ER staff?
The first priority isn't even the blockage, it's the heart. They will run urgent blood tests to check those potassium levels. If he is hyperkalemic, they will administer intravenous calcium to protect the heart muscle and insulin to force the potassium back into the cells.
Wow, so they treat the heart first.
Exactly. Once his heart is stable, they will put him under anesthesia. The vet will insert a tiny lubricated catheter into the narrow urethra to flush the plug, either pushing it back into the bladder where it can be dissolved later with special diets, or flushing it out entirely. They usually leave that catheter sewn into place for 2 to 3 days while the cat is hospitalized on aggressive 5E fluids to constantly flush the kidneys and clear the toxins.
And what if this keeps happening? I know people whose cats block, get cleared, come home, and then block again a month later.
Recurrent blockages are a massive quality of life issue. For those chronic cases, the Anacura Guide details a salvage surgical procedure called a perineal urethrostomy, or PU surgery.
PU surgery, what does that actually entail?
Essentially, the surgeon removes the penis and the narrowest curved part of the male urethra entirely.
Oh, wow.
They pull the wider, thicker part of the pelvic urethra down and suture it to the skin, creating a new, wider stoma, or opening, that basically resembles the anatomy of a female cat. It is a major, delicate surgery with a strict recovery period, but by removing the bottleneck, it virtually eliminates the risk of future life-threatening physical blockages.
Okay, deep breath. So we've ruled out constipation. We know to check for the arched back. We've survived the terror of the urinary blockage. We know the 3-step ER plan. But Oliver is still acting weird.
Okay, what's he doing?
Let's say I took him to the vet. They did an ultrasound. They checked his urine. He is physically 100% healthy. His plumbing is immaculate. But he comes home, he walks up to his litter box, he sniffs it, he stands outside of it and cries, and then he makes direct eye contact with me and pees right next to the box on my fluffy, expensive white bath mat.
The classic inappropriate elimination scenario. It is actually the #1 reason cats are surrendered to animal shelters.
And I completely understand why. Because my interpretation of that behavior, if the vet says he's physically fine, is that he is acting out. He is being a grumpy, spiteful little jerk because I had the audacity to serve his dinner 10 minutes late, so he peed on my bath mat to punish me. It feels incredibly personal.
It feels personal, but attributing human malice to a feline behavior is a massive misconception, and it deeply damages the bond between cats and their owners. The behavioral experts from Cat Garden and Lady NUS emphasize this constantly. Cats do not act out of spite.
They don't.
Spite, revenge, holding a grudge, these are complex, abstract human emotions. A cat's brain does not process the world that way.
So if he isn't seeking revenge for late dinner, what is motivating him to ruin my rug?
Survival and biology. Cats have an incredibly strong, innate sense of hygiene that is tied directly to their safety. In the wild, a cat meticulously buries its waste because the smell of urine or feces acts as a homing beacon to larger predators. It says, hey, a tasty little cat lives right here. The litter box is supposed to be their safe, hidden zone. But if that environment becomes a sensory disaster, their biological alarm bells go off. They feel vulnerable and exposed.
An environmental disaster? What does that mean? Just that the box is a little dirty?
It's not just dirty to them. We need to look at it through the lens of a cat's sensory perception. Let's upgrade the classic porta-potty analogy.
Okay.
Imagine you are at a crowded summer music festival. It's 100 degrees outside. You walk into a dark, enclosed plastic porta-potty that hasn't been emptied in 3 days. The ammonia smell is so thick, it literally burns the back of your throat and makes your eyes water. Are you going to use it, or are you going to walk into the woods and find a bush?
I am absolutely finding a bush. I wouldn't even step foot in there.
Your cat feels the exact same way, but multiplied by 100. Cats have a highly developed sense of smell, including a specialized structure called the Jacobson's organ, or vomeronasal organ, located on the roof of their mouth.
Oh, that's when they make that funny face with their mouth open.
Exactly, the Fleeman response. It allows them to practically taste scents in the air. If you're using a small covered litter box, the one you bought because it nicely hid the mess from your guest, you are forcing your cat into that festival porta-potty. The plastic cover traps the intense, corrosive ammonia fumes. If we humans can smell it just a little bit when we walk in the room, it is overwhelmingly suffocating and physically irritating to their respiratory system.
Wow, I never thought of it like that.
If the box isn't scooped daily, if the litter is too shallow, or if it's placed right next to a noisy furnace that kicks on and terrifies them, they won't use it. They aren't punishing you. They are desperately finding a soft, clean, safe-smelling alternative. Your bath mat is their bush.
That reframes it completely. He's not being bad. He's just trying to find a bathroom that doesn't burn his nose. But here's my question. Can a dirty, stressful litter box actually cause a real medical problem? Or is peeing on the rug just a behavioral nuisance?
This is where the physical body and the psychological environment collide in feline medicine. Stress isn't just a fleeting bad mood for a cat. It is a profound, destructive, biological trigger. Have you ever heard of the condition FIC?
No, I haven't. What does that stand for?
Feline idiopathic cystitis. Let's break that down. Idiopathic is a fancy medical term that basically means we don't know the exact physical root cause. Cystitis translates to inflammation of the bladder. But what veterinary researchers do know is that FIC is intimately, directly linked to environmental stress.
How does stress translate into bladder inflammation?
When a cat is chronically stressed, whether that stress comes from a disgusting litter box, constant territorial conflict with another cat in the house, or sudden traumatic changes in their routine, their sympathetic nervous system kicks into overdrive. The body releases a constant flood of stress hormones, primarily cortisol. In humans, chronic stress might give us a stomach ulcer. In many cats, those stress hormones target the bladder.
Wait, the stress hormones physically attack the bladder tissue.
Exactly. Inside a healthy bladder, there's a protective mucus lining called the glycosaminoglycan layer, or the JAG layer. It coats the inside of the bladder, preventing the highly acidic caustic urine from touching the sensitive nerve endings of the bladder wall. Chronic stress hormones cause that protective JAG layer to break down and degrade.
Oh no, so the acidic urine is just sitting directly on raw nerves.
Yes. It creates a phenomenon called neurogenic inflammation. The urine literally burns the unprotected bladder wall. The tissue becomes red, thick, and begins to bleed into the urine. It is excruciatingly painful. And here's where it connects to our earlier emergency. That severe pain causes the muscles around the urethra to spasm violently. A cat can experience a functional urinary blockage where the urethra clamps shut purely from stress-induced spasms without any physical, crystal, or mucus plug blocking the way.
That is absolutely mind-blowing. Their anxiety literally breaks down their internal organs and clamps their plumbing shut.
Which is why environmental management is not just a nice bonus for a cat, it is a prescribed medical intervention.
So what is the actionable prevention here? How do I fix the environment so Oliver isn't pushed to the brink of FIC by his bathroom?
It starts with the golden mathematical rule of feline husbandry,
Yeah.
the N+1 rule. You should have one litter box for every cat in the house, plus one extra. So if you have 2 cats, you need 3 litter boxes.
3 boxes for 2 cats. I assume I can't just line all 3 of them up in the basement closet.
Definitely not. If they're all next to each other, a cat views it as one giant litter box. Placement is key. Spread them out in quiet, easily accessible safe zones on different levels of the house. Never corner a cat. They need to feel they have multiple escape routes in case a dog or another cat approaches.
Makes sense.
And as we discussed, remove the covers. You want large, wide-open boxes, think underbed storage plastic bins, where the cat can turn around fully without touching the sides and can visually survey their surroundings so they don't feel trapped.
What about the litter itself? Every time I go to the pet store, I see all these heavily scented litters, lavender, Febreze, fresh pine.
Avoid them entirely. Those scents are designed for human noses, not the highly sensitive vomeronasal organ of a cat. Cats despise strong artificial perfumes. Use an unscented, low-dust, soft clumping litter. And the most important rule, you need to scoop it every single day without fail. Furthermore, you must regularly empty the whole box and wash the plastic with a mild, pet-safe, unscented soap. Plastic absorbs ammonia over time, so even if it looks clean to you, it might smell like a nightmare to them.
Cats can be so incredibly particular about their bathrooms. Does your cat have a funny litter box quirk or a specific type of litter they absolutely demand? Tell us their name and their quirk down in the comments below. I know for a fact that Oliver will absolutely boycott the box and stare at me in disgust if I try to switch from fine clay to those chunky pine pellets. He hates how they feel on his paws.
They definitely have their textural and scent preferences, and as we've learned, respecting those preferences is vital for preventing life-threatening medical issues. If you have done all the box hygiene and they are still stressed, say there are stray cats outside the window agitating them, you can introduce environmental tools to lower their baseline anxiety. Synthetic pheromones, like Feline diffusers, mimic the calming scent a mother cat produces. Providing vertical space, like tall cat trees or shelving, gives them a sense of territorial control and safety, which naturally lowers those destructive cortisol levels.
Let's recap Oliver's journey tonight because we have covered a massive amount of ground. We started at 2 a.m., realizing that we can never just assume it's a tummy ache. We need to play detective. We learned to watch the biomechanics, so a flat, relaxed back for peeing and a hunched, arched back for pooping.
We discussed the hidden mechanics of constipation, specifically how a dehydrated cat's body will steal water from the colon, turning feces to cement. We learned that if this backup isn't resolved within 24 to 48 hours, the smooth muscle of the colon can irreversibly stretch and break, resulting in a lifelong condition called megacolon.
We tackled the absolute terror of the 24-hour red alert, the urinary blockage. We know now that the male cat's curved, narrow urethra makes them especially vulnerable. If there is zero pee output, we know that lethal toxins like potassium build up rapidly, destroying the heart's electrical signals. We know not to fall for the acting normal predator and prey trap, and we have our 3-step ER plan. Call ahead to triage, fast the cat to prevent aspiration, and handle their distended belly with extreme gentle care to prevent a rupture.
And finally, we dismantle the toxic myth of the spiteful cat. We understand that peeing on the bath mat is a cry for help, not an act of revenge. The litter box environment, its cleanliness, its location, its lack of a suffocating lid, directly impacts a cat's cortisol levels. And because stress breaks down the protective layer of the bladder and triggers conditions like feline idiopathic cystitis, providing a pristine bathroom is a critical medical necessity.
It all comes back to the mission we stated at the beginning of the show. Paying attention to poop and pee isn't gross. It is an act of deep love, vigilance, and protection. Never punish a cat for crying at the box or having an accident on your rug. They are angry at you. They are desperately, biologically asking for your help.
If we synthesize everything we've talked about tonight and connect it to the bigger picture, it leads to a truly profound realization about the animals we share our homes with.
What's that?
Based on the research, particularly regarding FIC, the gag layer, and stress hormones, we have to recognize that our cats literally internalize their environment. Their physical biology is in a constant, delicate dialogue with the atmosphere of our homes.
Because the stress of a dirty box physically inflames and breaks down their bladder wall?
Exactly. The peace, the stable routine, and the clean comfort we provide in our homes isn't just a luxury for them. It is quite literally medicine for their bodies. By curating a calm environment, by taking the lid of that box, and by scooping it every single day, you aren't just making your cat happy, you are actively altering their internal chemistry. You are keeping them alive.
Wow. Your home is their medicine. That is a heavy, beautiful responsibility, and it's something I'm going to be thinking about every single time I pick up the litter scoop. So I leave you with this. Look around your house tonight. What is one small change you can make to your environment to give your cat a little more peace and a little less stress?
It's the most important question a cat owner can ask.
Until next time, give your cats a scratch behind the ears from us.